today. We're going to talk about the ROG, or Republic of Gamers, Zephyrus G14 today. My particular model that we're going to talk about comes with 16 gigs of RAM, the Ryzen 9 5900HS. It also is equipped with a 3060 GPU, and that is up, so that's the 6 GB version of the 3060, so you can see that here. It has a 14-inch, and I have the 1080p version with the 144 megahertz display. It comes with 16 gigabytes of DDR4, which is apparently upgradable. It does have a second, so one is on board, and then one is upgradable, so you can add a second DIMM. But the reports seem to indicate that you'll lose your dual channel if you do upgrade that. So that is definitely a huge caveat that you're kind of giving up here. It does come with a decent 1 terabyte NVMe drive. This particular drive that they ship with it is from Hynix, or however you say that, Hynix, whatever. I did go ahead and put a Samsung 970 Evo in there, which you'll see a little later. We'll talk about the ports a little bit. It's got audio jack, which is the combo jack. It does have one HDMI 2.0B, which is capable of displaying. I have a 165 hertz monitor, and it will display that. It has one 3.2 Type C, as well as one Type A and one 3.2 Type C that does have the DisplayPort, as well as up to, I believe, 100 watts power delivery. I could be wrong there, and is G-Sync compatible. Currently, I use FreeSync over the HDMI, but I do also have a dock, and it does do okay with that. Has a backlit chiclet keyboard, and the audio is pretty good, not great. I don't get too much into that in going through this, but it's decently loud, but not super loud, so it's okay. Wi-Fi 6 with Bluetooth 5.1 dual band, pretty good. Haven't had too many issues with the AX standard, as well as a 76 watt hour battery, and that is really what makes this laptop shine. So we can talk about that here as well going forward. So you can see it comes with an 180 watt AC power watt adapter. So 20 volts DC, 9 amps. Pretty nice. My particular model does not have the anime matrix. I'm not a big fan of the cool light show. It's kind of gimmicky to me. Other people might want it, but wasn't my thing. So it is 12.76 inches by 8.74, with being about 3/4 of an inch thick. So pretty decent. It's still a chunky boy, but it manages to be pretty small. It does have a fingerprint sensor on the power button, and kind of a cool feature is if you're using the BIOS, when you're booting up, the BIOS actually stores your fingerprint and gives it to Windows. So when it works, it's pretty nifty because it will go ahead and log you in automatically as soon as you hit the power button. Of course, it's got the Kensington lock. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So a lot of people have reviewed this laptop and feel like it's a pretty good laptop. So we're going to dive into that and get into some of the, so you can see it and what the keyboard feels like, as well as how the hinge works, and we'll go over all of that. And so just stick with us, and this is my first time doing a review like this. So don't hate on me too much as we go through it. And if you have any questions or things that I probably should have mentioned or gone over as we're going through this, hey, let me know. Okay, so this is the G14 white, and you can see this is not the Animatrix version. Opening up, the bottom is made out of, I'm not really sure what material that is, but it does have the Ryzen 9 5900 GTX 3060, 6 gigabyte, with up to an 85 watt TDP. So that's pretty nice. It's got these weird colors on the speaker grills. You can see we got all the buttons up there. Power button, which is also a fingerprint sensor. So that will actually um, allow you to log in. You got your volume controls, and then you have your ROG button, which opens up their software. So that's pretty neat. The trackpad is pretty good. The keyboard's pretty good. The trackpad, when you're typing, you're not resting your hands on the trackpad, which is nice. Um, the keys do have backlight, which you'll see in a second here. Trackpad is got covered in glass, and it's a pretty good trackpad for the for the type of computer. It has a full HD 144 hertz screen, 1080p on this model. So this is the $1,500 model. You can see it boots up quite quickly. The colors are excellent on this, and it has different um, types. And, of course, you got the fingerprint sensor in there. You can see the blinking light is your HDD indicator, which is super annoying. There's the ROG button. So what this does is this allows you to use different cooling profiles. Everybody seems to think that turbo is a waste of time. So if you're not running on battery, you should be in performance mode. If you're running on battery, you should be on silent. That'll give you that 10 hours of battery life that and they say that you can get 11 to 12, but my experience has been 10 hours is pretty much all I'm going to get. But and that's just doing light things. So if you're gaming on it, you're not going to get 10 hours. um, Decent key travel. You can't change the color of the keyboard, so you get white. That's all you get. But overall, it's a pretty good experience for a 14-inch laptop. Probably the best experience I would say I've ever had on a small form factor. And I've used the M1, or not the M1, but the Intel Mac. Um, so you can change the color, you can change the brightness, but you can't change the color of the keyboard, and you can shut it off. So at in the dark, it's very nice, but you can see if you're in a well lit area, turning on the lights actually makes it harder to see the keys. So something to keep in mind there as you go through it. Pretty intuitive software. Actually, it's probably the useful, which is surprising because most of the time software like this is pretty crappy. But I think Asus did a good job, and I prefer it over the native Windows controls there. So you can see just different angles there. Your heat does come up over the monitor, which causes, there's a lot of heat right there. Has not caused me any issues thus far. It's got a unique hinge mechanism, which we'll talk about more later. You do have a pretty interesting badge. They spent some time really on making it pretty. You can see the different colors. It's pretty hard to see there, but if you don't have the animatrix display, it's just got like this monochrome color look in there, and it's pretty hard to see that. Just trying to show it to you there, but not an unattractive laptop. So talk about the hinge a little bit. You can see here it's full view, so it just goes up. This gives more room for cooling. It's pretty intuitive. It's firm, stiff. It won't like flop around or anything, so that's nice. On that. When we're talking about the keyboard a little bit, it's got good key travel. Again, I recommend in highlight situations that you shut off the backlights. Low light situations, the backlight is great, but unfortunately, it's not all over. But typing is good. It feels good in the hands. The chiclet keys are perfect. I think this is like a fantastic keyboard. I don't have any problems with that keyboard at all. Um, Other than the backlight, of course. I think they really dropped the ball on the backlight. Like, if you're already putting white in there, how hard could it be to add some RGB? And that way you could have a little bit more control of your colors. Talking about our inputs, you have USB-C here, so that's just a regular old USB-C. This is an AMD model, so you don't get any Thunderbolt. You have two USB 3.1 ports. I don't remember, but USB 3 something. So those are two are on the right hand side of the computer, and of course, it looks pretty intuitive. Then you have your barrel plug over here on the left, as well as HDMI 2.0, which does support the monitor. Uh, I think right now I have a 160 hertz monitor and it supports it no problem. You have USB Thunderbolt, or not Thunderbolt, I'm sorry, USB 3. 3.1 or whatever. But that one on the left side has the display port, and then of course you have a microphone headphone jack combined there. Lots of ventilation on the bottom, so you got your room for your speakers. You've got a little extra there for your hard drive, and then of course your fans are sitting right over those two spots right there. And that's your intake for the CPU and GPU. And then you've got your outtake there at the back, and you have outtake on the sides because this boy gets hot. So that is a very concerning. The CPU can reach 91 degrees Celsius, no problem with some gaming. So if you're going to do any heavy gaming on this, I recommend you get a good mat for that. Really like the hinge design on this. It feels good after using this laptop for a few months now. Still haven't had any issues with it, so I'm really happy about that hinge design. I think it's pretty fantastic. We'll see after about a year how it looks and how it does. But helps it be a little bit more compact and helps it feel a little bit more premium. All right, so let's open this thing up. So I'm gonna go ahead and speed this up just a bit because I doubt you want to watch me open up a laptop. So let's speed it up, get right through all that. Quite a bit of screws on here on that chassis, so that's kind of fun to watch me go super fast. I'm excited about that. To open it, once you've got all the screws out, you can use a pry tool. I don't recommend it because the metal is kind of soft. I just used my fingernail and it popped right up there. So you can see there, it's got kind of a red PCB, which is kind of neat. Not that it really matters because no one is ever going to see it, but whatever. So we have two fans, and you can see both of those fans there. I don't remember how many blades those fans have. I don't think it really matters. At the end of the day, this sucker runs hot, and no amount of blades is going to fix that. So, but you do have two fans there. You got your GPU and CPU there, as well as three main heat pipes. So they kind of run in weird ways around the fans, but they do a pretty good job. You have one stick of upgradable RAM. So half the RAM is soldered to the motherboard, the other half is upgradable there, and I believe you can go up to 32 gigs. Then you have your Samsung. I put a NVMe drive in there. It comes with a cheaper one, but I went ahead and upgraded my NVMe drive to something a little faster. Just not that it matters. I don't think you're going to have any problems with the stock drive they put in there, but to change it, it's just one screw. If you've never done NVMe before, it's super simple. You just unscrew it, you take it out. They did put a thermal pad underneath, and then you can see there's your Wi-Fi card as well. So this particular model comes with Wi-Fi 6 AX, and then of course there's my Samsung that I upgraded to. So pretty simple. M.2 is easy, and that actually uses your PCIe lanes, so it does not use a SATA controller, which is pretty cool. You cannot add a SATA drive to this computer that I know of, so you're pretty much stuck with that NVMe drive, and you only really get one slot. So there were some people saying that you could only use single-sided sticks, but I used a double-sided stick with really zero issues. I have not had any problems with Wi-Fi problems or anything like that. Your battery is a 76 watt-hour Asus battery, and I think they did a good job here. Kind of disappointing that we couldn't get a 90 watt battery in there, but you know, it comes down to what we're trying to do. So it's a 4800 milliamp battery. It's pretty good. Lasts me all day. I can get through an 8-hour work day without having to plug it in. Obviously, unless you're doing something crazy like gaming on it, this would not be good for gaming. More than 2 hours, you're gonna have to plug it in. So if you're gonna take it with you somewhere, you better plug this bad boy in. All right, so just to conclude everything, I hope it was a good video. It's kind of like my first attempt at doing it, so I don't have the greatest video quality stuff. It's super cheesy to put my webcam on the screen of the computer, but I thought it was funny, so I did it. So I have the GA14 GA401QM model. I did buy it from Best Buy. Uh, yeah, that's pretty much it. So far in games, it performs pretty well. I don't play a lot of demanding games or anything. The main reason I got it is I wanted that extra power from the GPU, and I also wanted a computer that would last all day if I wasn't using the GPU. So that's where this comes in. It's a very, very good for that. If you don't really care about battery life, you don't care how long it lasts, and you're looking for more performance, I highly recommend you look at the G15 version or even the G17 if you want a bigger one. Those would probably serve you a little bit better. But if you're looking for something that's got power when you need it and can last all day, this is the sweet spot right here. You know, great things about it is really that battery life. That's where that comes in. So some of the crappier things about it, you know, is it doesn't perform as well as a G15 or a G17. The thermals aren't as good, so there's caveats there as well. But overall, this is a very, very, very well built computer and can serve you pretty darn well for most of those things, especially if you're looking at battery life, and that's a main thing for you. So I know it was for me, and that's why ultimately, after looking at tons of laptops, I settled on the G14 instead of getting the more powerful 15 or even 17 version. But make most no mistake about it, that 5900HS Ryzen in there and the 16 gigs of RAM, although I wish I had 32, we'll settle for 16. Those are huge. If you're going to do any video or picture editing and you still want the G14, go ahead and get the 32 gig out of the box. You're going to pay a lot more money for it, but it's going to be worth it at the end. So let me know how everything went. Thanks for watching this video, and don't forget to like and subscribe or something like that. I don't know. I think I'm supposed to say that. I don't really care if you do or not. But yeah, if you got any tips or tell me about your G14, or maybe you were looking at this laptop and you decided to go with something else, that'd be fine too. Let me know what you got, and or let me know if you have any questions or anything I could do better. So thanks again for watching, and I hope you have a great day.